Hi, I'm James, and in today's video we're going to look at another Zvezda model kit, which is the M2A2 Bradley. Now this American IFV has been in service now for quite some time. The A2 model is the up armoured version. Now looking at the front of the box, that's not the A2, that's an A1 version. You can tell by the different side armour and the fact you can actually see the firing ports. Looking at the back of the box, the picture on the back of the box however is an A2. So we'll have a look and see what we've got. Now it says it's 15 parts, 6.5 centimetres long, so it's the right size for a 1 to 100th model. So let's see what we've got in the box. We've got our usual American numbering, although interestingly they call it the Bradley there. So that's a mistake. You've got two of the chevrons that were used to indicate coalition forces in the Gulf, and numbers 0 through to 9 twice. Okay, that's standard for this. Note that the Art of Tactic isn't supported by them anymore, which I don't play that, so it's not a problem. We have the usual double-sided instruction leaflet. Instructions on the back. It's looking quite a nice simple model. Let's have a look at the sprue. Okay, that looks nicely moulded. There are some nice details on there. The rear hatch is quite nice, I quite like that. The turret upper looks quite nice. The rear doors are definitely quite nice. Strut ramp are quite nice. Oh, just looked at that, the flag's been miscast. Can't see anything else on there that looks miscast, fortunately. So let's have a look at the other sprue. Yeah, that's looking okay. We've got the tracks, we've got the internal bracing that Zvezda like, because it is a push fit model, it's worth remembering. We've got the suspension part and we've got the side skirts. The side skirts quite nicely detailed actually. I like the fact they've got the little grips and things on there. So let's have a go at building it. So it was a very controversial vehicle when it was designed, the Bradley. Some of you may remember the Kelsey Grammer film Pentagon Papers, which looked at some of the controversies. They are a bit misleading, I think, in some ways, for want of a better description, because when that was put together, the film from the book, it played up on a lot of the more fun and controversial elements, for want of a better word. The Bradley has performed fairly well in combat. It's an APC or an IFV. It's not designed to take on tanks, and I think that is where a lot of the problems have sort of come from. So I do think that some of the criticism levelled at the vehicle has been a bit unfair, but it's performed well enough in service. So start putting the structure up so I get that the right way round. I always got a habit of doing that the wrong way. You can see there it puts slots together in a nice logical way so that you've got all the parts there forming the... Let's get that one in properly, there we go. They are quite a tight fit because they are designed to snap fit. You could glue this, and in all fairness I do think that's not a bad idea. I haven't bothered for this. I want to see just how well it does slot together. From the experience of the previous models, and you'll see there's quite a few of them on my channel, I do think that they are solid enough fit. So that's the structure there assembled. We now put the sides of the suspension on. Now these are nice crisply cast pieces. It wouldn't matter so much with this part because a lot of this will be hidden anyway by the time we put the tracks and the side skirts on. There's a little bit of flash, but it's not on the actual vehicle, it's more on the casting part, so let's That's nice and crisp. So make sure I get this the right way round. Very easy to make that mistake with this. Is that the right way round? He says looking at that open end at the back. Yeah, it is that way round. This is usually the most fiddly part, getting that onto there, just to get a nice tight fit. I do wonder actually if it would be easier to put this onto the skeleton and then put the skeleton in place. I've never tried that. I might try that on another model. Let's try the other one first, see if it's just me. I'll tell you what, let's try it. How easily, no, it's not going to come out easily. That's the problem with these, is even if you just fit them normally, it does feel like they are they're glued in place, they're that tight a fit. It's easy to get one of them lined up perfectly, but it's then getting all three. If I start with the centerpiece, there we go. Centerpiece, and push it, put your finger on the inside. That one's not perfectly lined up for some reason. I think that should do it though. Oh, after all that fuss, that's gone absolutely perfectly on straight away. So much for me thinking it was a bad fit. So let's have a look at the tracks. The tracks are nicely detailed. They're not model standard, but they are pretty good. I quite like Zvezda's tracks. They do look pretty good. Slightly simplified detail, but nothing. Let's put it this way: it's the same standard you get on any wargaming kit. And that's what I'm using it for, so I'm happy with that. And again, a lot of this will be hidden anyway. Definitely little bits of, I don't know if you can see it there, the really fine bits of plastic that were in the way there. That's slightly overfilled the mould. So let's have a look. Sprocketed one at that end. What have we got? We've got just a hole at each end, so it's not particularly secure compared to some of the Zvezda models. Definitely doesn't. I wonder if I've got that. Have I got that the wrong way around? Let's have a look. So front, yeah, and sprocketed wheel at the front, so that is right. That's gone on nicely now. Doesn't feel like that one fits as well. I'm bending the pin there. Yeah, I think that one's going to end up being glued. So he's going to have to be, I think, now. So let's put the other one on. I'm just going to then go away, glue that, and I'll be back in a second. Get that on there first. Now, that one's gone on alright. The other one didn't, so back in a second. Okay, so we're back. That's now been glued. So let's start building the next step up. And Cubit the cat is back, trying to get in on the act as ever. So you can probably hear him there. No doubt he'll be appearing shortly. Last time I was doing a work Skype call, he seemed to spend his entire time with his tail doing Jaws impression across the bottom of the picture. I blame it on watching Finn the dog on David Willey's videos on the Tank Museum. I think ever since he's seen that, he's wanted to be a YouTube star as well. So that piece, hole going on, is a little bit more fiddly, particularly to get it straight there. It's the case of lining up the pins. It doesn't feel I've lined them up right there. So it's very hard to see how you've done with that. No, it does appear to be on okay until you look at the front. This is a very fiddly Zvezda kit. It's not as good as some of the other Zvezda kits, and I think, no, you agree, don't you, Cubit? I can tell. The thing is with that, the pins are very, very long, and as a result it's very easy for them to warp slightly, like this one appears to have, and then it doesn't quite fit in. Normally I quite like the Zvezda skeleton system, but it's definitely a bit more fiddly on this one. There we go, I think we've got that right there, so we'll put the rear on next. I mean, while it's a very good system when it works, using the skeleton, when it's not quite right, it's an absolute pain. But that's given quite a nice look. So we'll put the side skirts on. So this is really going to be usable post Cold War. But it's still very useful for someone like me who games Twilight 2000. There are obviously quite a few of these floating around in that game, and Team Yankee having gone into later periods as well, I know it's usable there. So very small pins for this one. Very fine to fit that one. Okay, it's on. I've got the headlight clusters on there as well, although the headlight clusters, when you look at them, are a little bit plain. Yeah, a little bit of paint might help with that. I might be able to get that looking a bit more realistic. It's definitely looking right. So let's look at the turret. Turret's only 3 pieces. Very nicely cast gun, I think, with this one. I do feel that most of the time when you see any vehicle with an autocannon, they tend to be way over scale. This is realistic in scale, so you are going to have to watch for breaking it. I think it'll be very easy to break. Put that there. So one thing they haven't done very well, I don't feel, on this, oh, there's leftover plastic there, are the smoke grenade dischargers. They don't look correct, in that when you look at them, you can see that they've got what look like 4 clusters. I'll have to take that little bit of plastic off there. There are 4 of them, rather than, I believe there should be 6, and they're pointing vertically rather than angled, so they're not particularly accurate. Most of this kit is actually really, really nice, but that just seems to be out. That's a bit of a shame. That part really doesn't want to slot in. So normally with Zvezda I've never had a problem with fit like this. This is not doing especially well from a build perspective. There we go. Once it clicks, it's there. Now that's not a very good fit there. That needs to come around. There we go. Once it's on, that is lovely. And you've got the small holes for the tow missiles. Now the tow missiles are in the travel position. I don't have a problem with that. I know some people would like the option to have them up but it's a very common fault when they are fitted in model kits. The cover stays in place, it doesn't go up, and a lot of models, the Battlefront ones included, they do get that little bit wrong. So let's have a look, let's put that on there. So there's the Bradley. It's not a bad model, it looks like what it's supposed to. It does look like a Bradley. It is the M2A2 version. There's no options for things like open hatches or anything like that, but it's not bad. It's definitely a gaming piece rather than a modeller's piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it up and then we'll show it off.